Today is our cap on the no pun intended.
Oh yeah, I saw what you did there, mate. Very good.
It
was so good you couldn't even finish it off right in the middle of. You said it, and then Matt, that's great. That's fucking good. you had a self-reflective moment where you're like, that's really good shit. Greetings, true believers. It's time for Spoiler Country's Make Mine Marvel TV, live from the Smith Tower high over Seattle, with your hosts, John, Kenric, Sumner, and Casey. Welcome to Make Mine Marvel TV.
Spoiler Country! Well, welcome back to Spoiler Country. Come on in, sit down, relax. That's been my new thing lately.
Is this your new thing now, mate? I love the fact that you keep on changing up every couple of weeks. There's some new, Kenric Regan horse shit, to deal with, which I love. You know what I mean?
I love the fact that a resident Southern was like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
It's the only way to be. Today is our cap on the no pun intended.
Oh yeah, I saw what you did there, mate. Very good. It was so good you couldn't even finish it off right in the middle of. You said it, and then Matt, that's great. That's fucking good. you had a self-reflective moment where you're like, that's really good shit, man. That's great
shit. This is our cap on the Falcon and Winter Soldier series.
Yeah.
So after every show, he's doing Assembled, which is a behind-the-scenes look, which I really love because this harkens back to the 80s for me. I don't know about for you guys, but in the 80s, it felt like every movie that came out that was a kid movie or preteen movie, like the Back to the Futures, the Goonies, they all had at some point a making of. And you could sit and watch them and you got to see behind the scenes. Star Wars had a very famous making of that was played on TV quite a bit. And Assembled on Disney Plus gives us that behind the scene look. Did you guys get a chance to watch this? It was pretty good.
I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, I watched it at 1 a.m. last night.
Fell asleep.
I forgot. I was like, I gotta watch this.
So I watched it on Friday morning before I started work. I thought, as I was recovering from jab number 2.
Oh, nice.
Nice. I watched it and thoroughly enjoyed it, actually, because all of the people attached, right, they're all people I respect. And it made me realize, by the way, that the one person heavily involved in the show who we hadn't actually discussed, who clearly deserves a lot of credit for how well the show turned out, is the director. Yeah. We talked about everybody else, but clearly the director is a massive influence over the quality of the show, and we got to how good fucking Malcolm Spellman was and everything, but I thought Carrie Scogland was actually really good and came across really, really well in all the behind the scenes footage.
She was awesome.
Yeah. She's brilliant. Yeah.
And she's talking on the show. You could really tell how much she really got into it.
Contributed. Yeah. There's no two ways about it. And she is like a major talent, right? And everybody they've put together, because what she directed a lot of, right? She directed a lot of 2 other previous shows that I was big fans of. She directed a lot of Boardwalk Empire, which is a fucking awesome show.
Oh my God.
Great show. Amazing. And she also did a lot of work on the first season of The Handmaid's Tale, including the season 1 finale. She directed a lot of those. And she directed this. Have you ever seen that movie, 50 Dead Men Walking, with Ben Kingsley? That is, if you've not seen it, it's worth checking out. She's like an epic talent. And one of the things that's great about her is the fact that you're talking about a middle-aged female director, who's working within, the comic book adventure space. When I think what's awesome about that is I think there's a lot of people who are fans of that stuff just wouldn't make that kind of like mental link between, well, actually, this is the person who's the showrunner is this guy, and the show director is this lady. Do you know?
She looks like a mom.
Yeah. You know, and I was trying to think of an elegant way to say that without actually getting drawn into the whole thing of like I'm making some sort of pejorative comment, which I'm not. My point is exactly that. You know what I mean? It's like this show, in terms of the people working on it, is so super diverse. Do you know what I mean? Because the show's essentially created and shepherded by like her and Malcolm Spellman creatively. And then actually, when you look at the producing team, I think this is one of the most like diverse teams of people that's ever put like a Marvel thing together, you know. And that to me was a great pleasure to watch. Actually, I think it's brilliant. Do you know what I mean? It's great seeing somebody who's like a mom figure, like directing all that like chaotic action and everything. Do you know what I mean?
She's done a lot. Brilliant. She worked on that show, Nos 482. I don't know if anybody had a chance to watch that. I
haven't seen the show. I've read the book though. I loved the book.
The show is really good. It was kind of thing. She also worked on The Punisher. You know what she worked on, Johnny, that you might remember back in the 90s, the MTV show Dead at 21.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I love that show. In fact, that was one of the earliest things she ever did, right?
Yeah.
That show, Dead at 21. I mean, fuck me, that's a long time ago, actually, Kenric. That must be 1994 is my guess. Yeah. Maybe 93. 94 would be my guess.
It was a popular show.
It's a long fucking time ago. Yeah, that was a great show.
It was kind of like one of those first, like, not to sound like old and dumb, but hip and rock and roll.
Yeah. No, so true. So true.
You know what I liked about Assembled is you get that opportunity, especially on this one, to see how people are reacting to the content, not just the action, but the content and the message that they're delivering, and how well they actually were paying attention to what they're saying meant, you know? And I liked how they explained Agent Carter, and went over how she's, you know, kind of crossed over, you know, and she went from this altruistic person, and now she's having to do these things to survive. And we don't really know exactly what she's all about yet.
Yeah. Well, it's brilliant that they've developed into the show into these kind of complex layers in her kind of character, rather than it's just as simple as she's like Cap's like nice secret agent girlfriend. She's so much more than that, which for her as an actor has got to be such a pleasure for her to play Emily Van Camp. I bet the minute she thought, this is what we're going to do with Agent 13, she was like, I'm all in on this. Do you know what I mean? And, you know, the fact that they've got essentially the waspy kind of like white blonde haired, you know, female is like the fucking villain. I think that was a brilliant way to go, to be honest. I really enjoyed that.
She's the villain in the shadows, which is funny.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. The role that back in the comics in you know, the 60s and the early 70s would have been like, that would have been the Mandarin's job, you know, would have been this massive fucking, you know, kind of non-white stereotype. So for you know, for the actual villain of the piece to turn out to be like the bland kind of like female white lead, I thought that was a really good way to go.
Am I the only one that finds it kind of weird and a little disturbing that Captain America got it on with her aunt and her?
Well, I kind of think it's brilliant in a sort of 1980s straight-to-video porn movie kind of way. Do you know what I mean? For me, it's all the wah-wah pedal starts to kick off when I think about it now. Wow.
Also,
I didn't know you were from Arkansas. I'm just saying.
It kind of knocks down the idea that Kevin Feige is like playing this out from the beginning. Everything has been planned up meticulously so that Cap can fuck his niece,
right,
or whatever. Like,
you don't know that Kevin Feige have an you know, fetish.
Don't know.
You don't know that.
That's the first thought I had though when they kissed on screen. I was like, I thought he was. Isn't that like what?
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at it in terms of, because I remember correctly in the chronology, he only does that once Agent Carter herself is like passed away at a great age.
Yeah.
So it's like, but once you know that he's actually gone back in time and had this whole family life, it's like, hang on, mate, that's not cool. You know what I mean? Sorry, Cap, that's really not very cool. As like young Sharon Carter is growing up, with this mysterious uncle figure who's married to her aunt, it's like, one day I'm gonna fucking get off with that guy. That was like, what I mean? I bet for some reason he was always very remote when I was growing up. That's because of his overwhelming sense of guilt.
Okay, we could take this into just the wrong. I mean,
this is going down.
Hey, mate, we've done the usual thing. We already have. It's already fallen off that cliff. The cliff of propriety is several hundred meters away as we're going towards the ocean waves directly. Yeah. Now let's do a course correct really quickly and talk about something we can feel good about.
Course correct. Then one of the things I liked about this assembled episode was the fact that they kind of go through each of the characters a little bit. And kind of talk about their inspiration for that character. Like, they talked about Zemo. They talked about is it Daniel Bruhl, the actor?
Yep.
Yes.
Talking about his excitement to wear the mask and going to get the comic shop to get comics with Zemo in it and all that. I thought they did very well on this, talking about, and talking about Anthony Mackie's Louisiana backstory and how they incorporated that into Sam.
Yeah.
But I probably shouldn't have expected, but I was expecting to do something with Batroc the Leaper, like talking about his character a little bit, even though he's only in it a little bit. I thought it was so cool they brought that character in because he's such a ridiculous character, especially if you ever watch him in the cartoon series with Spider-Man. And they brought him into this and they made him kind of cool. But then they don't talk about him in a symbol.
I thought he was lame. And no, he's kind of
because he was a massively lame French stereotype. I'm Batroc the Leaper. I am going, Captain America. You have defeated me again. No, I will see you again, my friend. It was always that, right, with a big fucking Hercule Poirot mustache, fucking ridiculous. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I'd have been French, I'd have been like, hey, fuck you guys. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's ridiculous. All you needed was a bunch of fucking onions, a bicycle, and a stripy shirt and a beret.
Yeah, and a big thing of bread.
Yeah, that's right, a baguette. He couldn't be. It was kind of like the comic book version of Frenchie and the Boys. Actually, he was designed to be every one of those stereotypes. So no, I thought it was brilliant. I guess when one of these hour shows, you just don't have the bandwidth to do everything.
Yeah,
but the great thing is because the guy who plays Batroc isn't really an actor per se. He's a legit fucking fighter. Actually, to give him the increasing amount of screen time they have and to give him an actual performance, I just thought it was a brilliant thing. I thought it was amazing. Yeah.
His fight scenes were phenomenal. I loved it.
Yeah. Oh, it's great. Great.
Yeah.
And the way they reinvented Batroc, both in the movies and here, I just thought it was so good. Totally redeemed that character and made him a force to be reckoned with. I thought that was brilliant. I think well said, mate. Well said.
He could jump really high.
Oh yeah.
He's Batroc the Leaper. He's fine, all right?
Yeah. I mean, it's like those scenes of Sam when he's on his pier in Louisiana, and he's like he throws the fucking shield, and it goes way out to like a stanchion post, and this way his bounces off and comes back and he catches it, and you watch it again. Yeah. A regular human being can't do that, I mean, that's just fucking ridiculous, but it's again, you've got to leave. You've got to be deploying. You've got to be looking at your artistic license at that moment,
exactly.
And going, no, that's fair enough, because it's not fucking real. Real people can't actually do that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's one that we did a lot of conversation in the last episode about, the augmentative powers of the suit and all that kind of stuff. But he was being shown to do shit that if you don't have the super soldier serum, you just can't fucking do it. Yeah. No human being alive can throw that fucking shield that distance, have it bounce back in perfect fucking harmony and grab it. It's like, now what you'd be throwing that shield just for going in the water. That would be it, the end. it would have been cool to be Captain America. I've lost that fucking shield forever. You know what I mean? And he comes back and he's some kind of like Louisiana-based superhero instead, you know. I'm the fucking shrimp fisherman. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and a big bib, you know, so he can eat the fucking shrimp, you know.
Casey, was there anything on the show that brought to light to you that you're like, oh shit, I didn't notice that?
Okay, so my favorite part of the assembled episode last night was the announcer's voice that lulled me to sleep within 5 minutes of turning it. Sadly, I didn't get to watch it. However,
shirt he has on.
That's a nice shirt, Casey.
That's a nice shirt.
That's a
yep.
That's a real
Actually,
nice shirt.
I took off my ratty Doctor Who shirt that I fell asleep in because I just woke up not long ago. I was like, I got to look at somewhat presentable.
You should wear that shirt the next time you go to a wedding.
Next time I go to, I'll like rip it open midway through my tuck shirt.
There you go. Perfect.
Like, yeah. So, what? Who is this guy? What? We didn't invite this guy. Who the fuck is? Yeah. So,
like, I'm your brother.
Just want you to watch this podcast. No. So one thing though about the Falcon and Winter Soldier that I'm over the moon about is how many characters they introduced that you know they're going to see eventually again. Namely, like they didn't introduce Zemo. However, they expanded his character so much and his world that he inhabits so much that you're like, oh, fuck, this is going to allow so many other people into the story, such as when he was talking about after, what was it, Age of Ultron, because his home country got kind of wrecked. The countries around him have kind of started expanding their borders.
Yeah. Did we freeze? Did Casey freeze?
It was weird because he kind of.
Oh, Casey has frozen. Yeah, right.
Then froze. Like
I thought he just went for. I thought that was a dramatic pause. You know what I mean? I thought he was just underlining what he just said, and it was like. But me, it's like Police Squad where everybody's moving around in the background.
Yeah,
and just frozen.
I did like his point about Zemo, though. It feels like if they don't use him now, it's almost like not unconstitutional, but you know what I mean. It's
a waste.
Yeah, it's a waste. If they don't use Zemo now, it's a big time waste. And because Daniel Bruhl, man, he's a big time actor, man. That guy can do.
He was so good.
I can listen to him read the phone book and be all right.
Right. His voice is Zemo, and his voice in general, it's like he has that accent that it's just slight enough, but just there enough to where you hear it as he talks what he's saying. It adds that.
Yeah. Did you guys like the outfit that they came up with for Zemo?
Oh yeah. I thought it was great. It was a great mix of the movie universe and his comic costume. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because the comic costume, you couldn't do that.
No.
I mean, unless it was a big fat joke, like when they did in Wanda when they dressed up like themselves in comics.
And you couldn't do that in the movie. But I thought the use of the overcoat with the puffy, I mean, it was great. It was perfect.
Yeah.
One thing I was trying to get to before my internet crapped out, I think they're going to use him to kind of bring Doom into the picture, which
that would make sense.
Would be amazing. Finally get a good Doom on.
Well, you know, I mean, they've got to get it completely right, and they've really got to think it through and get. But then again, these guys Marvel will get it right.
They do pretty good.
Feige will get Doom right. They won't get Doom wrong. That's for sure.
I mean, if they can get Batroc the Leaper right, make him cool, they can do.
Yeah, you said it, brother. That's absolutely correct.
We have a limited time because one of us has to leave.
One of us should have left already, but I'm hanging on. I'm clinging on for extra time before the hook comes to drag me away.
Let's discuss the biggest. The biggest social commentary this show produced is the Black experience in America following and being Cap. How did you guys feel? I mean, we're all middle-aged white men. We don't have any kind of way of commiserating of the message they're portraying, but at the same time, we can hear the story, hear the message, and then and I think a lot of people will take it some weird ways, right? Some people will be like, that's not my Captain America, blah, 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 blah. And because they're stuck in this old way, or you'll be like, wow, that was a powerful message. Or 3, you'll be indifferent.
Well, I think that that what you just said right there kind of echoes what happens in the show, right? Some people not my cap, some people can embrace it. And as four middle-aged white dudes here, the best we can do is understand it, right? And do our best to understand what he's saying. I think that ending speech Sam gives, not speech, but that conversation to the senators, it was really fun to hear how they came up with that speech. It was a lot of back and forth between Anthony Mackie and the one writer guy. I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Malcolm Spellman. Yeah, that was very good.
Yeah, how they worked on that for hours. And it's like, I think that speech resonates not just with the show, but with the current times we live in America. And I think they did a really good job of balancing that of, what it would mean for a black man to take over a mantle like Captain America that's been this, great white hope, for a lack of a better term, for certain people, that he really wasn't that, but people associate him with being this great white hope. And I think that they captured it pretty well.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good. I don't think I can add anything else.
I agree, Johnny. Yeah. Do you know what, mate? You've almost you almost defeated the podcast then, because what you said was so profound and on point that everybody was just sat there going, and that's everybody's listening to this. That's me nodding, and so therefore the whole thing descended into silence, and everyone was just like breaking every single fucking podcast rule imaginable just by all nodding. Do you know what I mean? It was such a great point. It's a great point you made. You virtually killed the podcast there, Johnny.
Well, I am right.
Yeah, the ultimate mic drop. Hoarsely has spoken.
Fist bump.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
That was gorgeous. So we'll fade out from that.
Yeah, I know that'll play really well on audio. That's right.
The audio.
We used to have this great fucking Make My Marvel TV podcast. Until one day, we watched Falcon and Winter Soldier assembled, and we all agreed with each other so much there was literally no broadcast to be done. Do you know what I mean? We just started doing all this visual shit that means fucking nothing on a podcast. Somebody's driving down the freeway listeing to this. I'm like, we'll cause an accident because they'll fucking fall asleep.
What were they doing?
You know what I mean? Yeah, man, this is so fucking boring. 12 people died today on the freeway entrance to the Pacific Northwest. A man was so bored by the Make My Marvel TV podcast that the virtual fist bumping sent him into a coma on the freeway.
Just for our listeners only, what happened that we're describing now is John stood up, and apparently he's not wearing pants. So he raised his arms up, and it was no hog, just balls. Just balls.
I'm actually not wearing pants, just so we're clear.
Yeah.
So
I thought you were going to say he got up, did the helicopter, and flew away.
Shot coffee out of my nose.
Yeah. I love it. I love it when a podcast returns to the well-worn conversational focus. John Horsley's dick and balls. You know that we're ending a vintage episode when John Horsley the third genitalia gets discussed in complete detail. Do you know what I mean?
Oh my God.
Who needs Viagra? Who needs Cialis when you've got Falcon and the Winter Soldier?
So bringing things back. So we all agree Falcon Winter Soldier was awesome. What do we have planned next? Because we have a gap.
To this. So we have a series of movies that we're going to do, and it's going to be Sumner Presents at the movies. And we have how many movies we have picked out? Six movies. And we're going to start off with which one?
Oh, right. I tell you what we'll start off with. We're going to start off with, so slightly rejigged the order because I was trying to think, well, I've got to bring something that's new to the party for everyone except me, of course. So we're going to start with the classic British vigilante thriller, Dead Man's Shoes.
Nice.
That's the first movie. The Dead Man's Shoes is the first movie, and I guarantee you that's an epic piece of work.
Nice.
2004 film?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. So we shall be, between this week and next week, we shall all be watching Dead Man's Shoes, and then we will all have a conversation about Dead Man's Shoes. It's an amazing piece of work that's directed by the British filmmaker Shane Meadows, and it stars and is written by the British actor Paddy Considine. And if you it sounds like Paddy Considine is, but I tell you, he's probably most familiar to US audiences from the Bourne movies, where he's the British journalist that Bourne meets, I think, like in the Bourne, in the Bourne Supremacy, maybe. It's like he's the guy he's going to meet with. What's that, mate?
The Bourne Ultimatum.
Bourne Ultimatum. He's the British journalist who's helping Bourne, who ultimately gets kind of executed at Waterloo Station. And this lad is he's one of the greatest actors in the UK. He's fucking phenomenal.
Nice.
There's a film called In America with him in it, and my wife and I saw it, and we fucking bawled at the end of that movie. Oh my god,
mate! So Paddy Considine he's an amazing talent. This guy who directed the movie, Shane Meadows, is an amazing talent. And what I'll tell you guys about it before you watch it, because I'm imagining that thus far none of you have seen it yet.
Have not.
It's like it's a vigilante movie with a very real world twist, but it is set in the northern. It's set kind of in the Midlands, right? The Midlands of England, yeah. And the Midlands is north of London, where I live, but south of Liverpool, where I grew up. Yeah, but the England that is on display in this movie is very similar to the England that I grew up in, and not the England you will see, when you watch Downton Abbey or any of that kind of stuff. So
yeah,
the kind of the ancestral England, the beautiful England that people often see in movies. That's not the England of Dead Man's Shoes. The England of Dead Man's Shoes is the working class reality of most of the UK. The blue collar reality of most of the UK, the New Jersey, if you will, of the UK. This is what we're talking about, and you'll see a deep dive into that working class life, that exists outside of London, massively so, and that's what the whole thing's about. And
everybody knows you can watch it on Crackle for free.
Oh, nice. Cool.
Fantastic. That's the one. It is an emotional gut punch, I'm telling you, as you'll see when you watch it.
Nice.
And by the way, one of the guys who stars in the film alongside Paddy Considine, just to loop through with the Marvel connection, is Toby Kebbell, who's the guy who actually plays Dr. Doom in the incredibly, extremely bad, most recent Fantastic Four movie.
in Fan Four Stick?
Yeah. That's it.
Man, I had to take my daughter to that movie when it came out because she was like 4 years old and she fell in love with the commercial of the guy, the rock guy. With she called him the rock guy, the thing, obviously.
Yeah.
And she loved the commercial. So I took her to see it in theaters when it came out, and she loved it because she just loved watching the guy on fire and the guy with the rock. And to this day, she's like, "Dad, remember watching the Fan Four Stick movie? It was amazing." I'm like, "Yeah, it was so good."
Yeah. He says, Johnny, like weeping tears of blood. It's like it's actually watching somebody urinate and ejaculate over something I love. And they then take a dump on it. Do you know what I mean? And then set it on fire while repeatedly shouting the words "fuck you, fuck you, fuck you." Fantastic Four sucks.
Fucking nerd.
Yeah. So no, it's the worst.
Yeah.
For a deep dive on our thoughts of that film, specifically The Thing's Genitals, episode 2 of our WandaVision recap, we go into a deep dive on that. But also, you were talking about the England, like the working class England. It totally makes sense because that director is the guy that did the amazing This Is England film.
Oh, yeah. Well,
the subsequent series after that, which I think I saw on IFC or something. It was amazing.
Yeah. Well, This Is England. There's a whole strata of films about the real England, the England that I come from and I'm part of, which has got nothing to do with Downton Abbey and the royal family. And there's a whole bunch of movies there's a whole bunch of movies I could point you towards as a result of part of this exercise. This Is England is one of them. Another film that I would massively recommend is directed by Richard Ayoade, who's one of the stars of the
IT crowd.
The IT crowd.
Submarine was great.
And Submarine is real. That's life in the UK. Submarine's a fucking great film. I'm glad you boys have seen it because it's something else, that film. It's great. Hey, you know what? On this talk, we're going to be talking about Dead Man Shoes in a week's time. Dead Man Shoes is what I will be living in, seriously, if I don't leave right now and go and meet my family dinner appointment.
Well, because
I have literally there's a massing bubble of some of the family members on the other side of the store who keep on shouting things like, "Where the fuck are you, Dad? Have you finished yet? You can't hear it, but I can hear all of it." Do you know what I mean? And now they're saying they're just going to turn off the electricity in the house if I don't finish now.
You keep talking, and I'm trying to wrap this up, but you guys keep talking.
Yeah, sorry. It was never thus. It was never some poor old Casey's version of talking is sticking up his hand for his, like, you know.
No, Casey's
I've got one more thing to say.
Kidding. Hey guys, this is it. Thank you so much for joining us through all of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Hopefully,
thanks everyone.
Join us for Loki coming out in June. But in the meantime, we're going to be doing these movies. Come join us. They're going to be a lot of fun. See you guys later.
Yeah.
Be well.
Hey, should we do the virtual thing one more time?
Yeah, let's do the virtual invisible fist bump. I love you guys.
I love you,
man. Be safe. Enjoy your dinner, and y'all have a good weekend.
Well, I'd love to do a transition where I do that.
Yeah.
And when the fist pulls back, I'm like start bolling naked with a semi-erect penis. Wouldn't that be the best? You know what I mean?
Semi-erect.
Do it.
I think you do the helicopter and fly away.
Yeah.
Or the Silence of the Lambs dance. Just.
Oh yeah, that's right. But with zero clothes on. Yeah.
Oh my God. All right, guys.
Y'all be safe.
That was good.
Take care. I love it. Love you guys. Love everyone.
Too, man.
Take care.
Be well.
Yeah. Bye-bye.